specific questions. I know.
Well, either you know or you don't know.
You cannot know what I know. That's all.
Unaccountable bureaucrats deep within the government. We called it, and you correctly said it, as shadow government. And these bureaucrats are not in lockstep at all with this administration. In fact, they're counter to it. So in their view, they're saving the country because they're going to oppose the president. So then you have the leaks. And I think the most telling aspect of this, Sean, something you and I have talked about several times, and that is 17 days before President Obama leaves office. 17 days before he leaves office. He'd been in office almost eight full years. He changes the way in which signal intel is distributed. It used to just go, since the Reagan era, it used to just go to the NSA. They would decide where the raw data would go. And he changes it with 17 days left so that 17 additional agencies get it, which of course makes it much more difficult to determine who is engaged in the leaks. But what's getting lost in this entire discussion, and that's what I think we have to focus on,
Bill Binney,
is that this information is being leaked.
It's
Period.
being
and
leaked, and it's leaked selectively, and like in the case of General Flynn, things that should never have been leaked and never have been. Not. This is unprecedented. Bill Binney, but for 32 years, and then you retired. Why?
I retired in October 2001 because they started spying on everybody in the United States. All the U.S. citizens. There was the bulk data collection of metadata. That was what the Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled illegal.
In other words,
just in 2015.
It's your belief that every American citizen, that all of this data, all of our cell phone calls, all of our text messages, and all of our emails, it is your belief, and one of the reasons you retired, because you could not live with this any longer, is that every American, that all of this is being saved and stored?
That's correct. And that's also what I put in a sworn affidavit for the Jewell versus NSA lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of this collection.
Well, I mean, I find this pretty, you know, here you are, a highly placed NSA official, then become a whistleblower. From what I understood, you were the architect of the NSA surveillance program in some ways, but so you're saying that even today, that would mean, by the way, that James Clapper committed perjury because he said it wasn't happening. Did he commit perjury in your view?
He was talking about a FISA court order. This is all this collection is being done under Executive Order 12333.
No, well,
Section 23C.
Yeah, but he also said the Director Clapper actually testified that there was not bulk data collections, and then had to correct his testimony when the WikiLeaks information came out.
So, in other words, what they released on General Flynn was a violation of the Espionage Act.
Correct, a violation of the Espionage Act. And every time they did it, by the way, it was a violation. It's not just one time. So you're talking about multiple felonies. You're talking about what needs to be taking place right now. And I have complete confidence in Attorney General Sessions. And that is an investigation not done the way Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch did it, by actually impaneling a grand jury, getting subpoena power, find out who leaked the information, prosecute them to the full extent of the law.
And you believe, as
if
I
they're
do,
found guilty, they pay the penalty.
When they expanded Executive Order 12333 in the final 2 weeks of Obama's administration, that was done to make it more difficult to identify those people who they knew would be leaking?
Sure.
What other reason would they do it?
Well, that's the only reason, because what it did was it took a very small pool of people and increased it 17-fold. So it makes it much more difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible. Right. And to prevent a constitutional showdown, to prevent a constitutional crisis, the Attorney General knows what he needs to do. So you believe there's
all right, Bill Binney, let me go back to you. What Executive Order 12333, it was revised in the final 2 weeks of the Obama presidency, as you know. But you believe it is that executive order, EO 12333. You believe it is that executive order that allows our government to literally wiretap and metadata store every phone call of every citizen, every text, every email? That's your belief? That's happening?
It's actually Section 23C that actually says if you have the intent to find a drug dealer, for example, in a 64 fiber line or a 10 gigabit line, if you believe there's a drug dealer in there, you can go in and collect all the data on the line, store it, mine it, and do whatever you want to with it, and preserve it, even though the vast, say 99.999% of it is domestic communications.
Unbelievable. All
I
right.
mean, this is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. I mean, even...
so every phone conversation I have in my life, do you believe has been taped?
Without warrants, yes, that's right. And also...
Part of the deal is all those vulnerabilities, Sean, you just mentioned, the bad guys have too. And this has always been one of my concerns. I've done this sort of thing for a living about the time William was doing it. My concern when I was on the inside is these people, our intelligence agencies, have huge technology and huge power. So that power must be used ethically and focused on the adversary only. What you've seen here, as you pointed out, Sean, it was used against one of our own. Lieutenant General Mike Flynn is a friend of mine. So I first, on a personal level, I think it's horrendous. On a legal level, it needs to be prosecuted. Yeah. So I think we have to understand, it's good that we understand these things. It's good we have people who understand the tools, but how you use those tools ethically, legally, and morally is hugely important.
Colonel, if the CIA, in fact, WikiLeaks now, they have a track record. They've not been wrong in all their years of existence. Right. They've not been proven wrong one time. And I'm looking at these documents. I guess the most frightening thing, if you're in the government, is they release less than 1% of the information they say they have. Right. And they're talking about more powerful surveillance techniques than even the NSA, without checks and balances.
Correct.
The fact that they build a cyber attack arsenal, that $100 billion came from the Obama years, and that it implies that every single electronic device they are capable of hacking and spying through, and even turning TVs into listening devices. Do you believe that? Do you think the CIA has that capability? And if they do, if there's no check and balance, doesn't that mean we're all potentially subject to living in a police state where the government at will can spy on whoever they want, bribe, blackmail, do whatever they want with that? That's scary.
That is a danger of having this, and unfortunately, Sean, this is one of those few times I cannot comment on what you're asking me. I used to do this for a living. I will say this: I think some of those things are even more powerful than you listed. I will say this: I think some of those things are even more powerful than you listed, and that's why ethically, legally, and as William said, you have to be very specific about how you use Title 18 as law enforcement, Title 10 is military, EO 12333, Title 50 is intelligence, which has U.S. person restrictions. President Obama, I have a feeling, didn't care. He just told people to go out and do things. And this is where morally you have to have someone who is at the top willing to do the hard things of saying, it is my job to restrict people from using those things abusively.
We don't have constitutional protections.
Precisely. And this is where we were going. And let me say this, and I don't know if Bill will agree with me or not. ATP 2829, the so-called Russian tool that we used to hack the DNC, Sean, we did it. Not me, but our guys. Former members of NSA, retired intelligence officers, use these tools to break in there and get the information out. That's what the Democrats don't want to talk about because it doesn't fit their narrative.
You know that for a fact? You know the Democrats did it, or that former operatives did it, using the malware techniques that they put the Russians' fingerprints on it and make it appear like the Russians. In other words, you're telling me this whole Russian story that the media has been running with for months and months and months, that it was our people that did it and they just put the fingerprints of the Russians on it?
That's right.
I hope that the vermin at the CIA like me in my underwear, because that's what they must have on tape. Are they that sick? Are they that perverted? That's what they do in that big honeycomb building? Is look in on people in their underwear? That's what they do? That's the best that this government can provide us, is low-life pornographers at the CIA? They can hack Samsung smart TVs. Everyone missed this in this entire thing that's going on right now. Again, the church committee. Not about a Catholic church, not about a Protestant church. It was an organization of the United States Senate that looked into violations by the CIA, NSA, FBI, and the IRS because there was abuse. There were abuses in the 70s. So the Congress at the time set up congressional committees to make sure the CIA didn't overreach. Now, who ran this committee? Who was in charge of this committee between 2009 and 15? Dianne Feinstein. Then I said the CIA is illegally involved in domestic policy, violating the Church Act. Remember the 1970s, all you good liberals, or you forgot your 1970s? Church Committee was formed to prevent the CIA, FBI, and other intelligence agencies from involvement in domestic politics. The Senate Intelligence Oversight Committee was under Dianne Feinstein, until the baton was just handed to an individual as a Republican. She became a joke, just a rubber stamp. She permitted the intelligence agencies to basically run roughshod over the American people.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wheel of Freedom. I'm glad to be here. I'm a little uncomfortable, but I'm glad to be here. My name is Phil Marie. We got Coach Kopaczynski, Walter Kopaczynski. Filled in last week, did the unthinkable, an hour of sitting there, and he did good, Wally. So I just want to thank, first of all, a lot of viewers have reached out, and I'm very thankful. And there was a couple things sent here and what have you, so I appreciate that big time. I will talk about what happened to me. For the viewers that don't know, my colon ruptured. I have a massive surgery, 3-hour emergency surgery, but I'm gonna get into that. But where I want to start is what you just saw, and you know, let me just make one thing clear. I never came here once to this studio to try to pull a bunch of BS or conspiracy theory or whatever, all this crazy nonsense stuff. I spoke from my heart. I spoke from experience, what I suffered for the last 9 years. And I have warned you guys for 4 years about these devices. I got tape over cameras. It doesn't matter what devices, right down to cable modems, everything. The internet modems, satellite boxes, everything is listening and maybe watching. And I've warned, I mean, all the viewers know, Wally, over the last so many years, what I have warned you to keep your bedroom, keep one room safe like your bedroom. Keep it sacred, because there's creeps that will watch. And that will watch. So my friends are visiting the government thugs, Obama's holdouts maybe, so they want to disrupt me, but they're not going to. And if I get angry, I get angry. What can I say? That's what they want. But I'm gonna try to just stay smooth. By the way, retired Connecticut State Trooper JB should be calling in about 7:40. So it'll be good to talk with him again before I forget. But anyways, so this whole nightmare, this whole hell started with NBC, all right? I'm not even going to look at my notes. I don't need the notes, because now they get my blood pressure going, and maybe my bag will explode. I don't really care what happens. These people infuriate me. And so it started with a game show application up in New Hampshire. Deal or no deal, Howie Mandel, they bugged my house. NBC, GE bugged my house. They go a step further. My ex-fiance, well, my fiance at the time, they bug her place and watch her 11-year-old naked girl in her bedroom and bathroom. All right? These are devices in the house. I found GE fake floodlights on the side of my garage that were wireless cameras, all right? So you got these devices put in, and at the same time, you have the devices that are already there that are being used. Cell phones, cable boxes, satellite dish receivers, modems, you name it. They're listening, they're watching, they're creeps. So all this stuff started, and I had to live with this hell of a police state. That's why I don't have a cell phone still to this day. I have an old flip phone with the battery out of it, just for emergencies. This is the lifestyle I got to live because of this government. I've talked about it for 4 years. Most of you believe me. I know some don't, but you know what? Now the people that don't believe me have to look at Bill Binney and Sean Hannity and say, they're lying. It's fake. They can't be true. But I'm telling you, the only reason why I share this is I don't want the viewers going through this stuff. And I know there's a lot of people that like their privacy. And you don't think it can happen to you, but if you got a nice-looking wife and there's some scumbag at the CIA or NSA that that has to play with his joystick, you know what I'm saying? They might be interested in watching your wife. So trust me on this. I get so angry at these people. So then you get into the stalking aspect. So they stalked me. Then they destroy my reputation, character assassination, tear me apart. They divide me from all relationships, including family, friends, neighbors, and the FBI issues a gag order so that if people talk to me, they're threatened with 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison, so everybody alienates me, all right? This is what happened. And you say, well, what's up with this organized stalking? How can it be organized stalking? I'll get into that. I will explain to you. I've showed all these different news clips, people being gang stalked. We've had guests on here, ex-CIA people, Dr. John Hall, all kinds of people on this show talking about the stalking part, all right? Vandalism, whatever. Just total annihilation. Remember those words, total annihilation. And the reason I'm going to show you a website where you can, as a matter of fact, Reg, before I get too far, how about camera 3? What you're looking at here, nefariousjobs.com, nefariousjobsmaine.com. For all the doubters, go here, nefariousjobs.com. Check it out, nefariousjobsmaine.com. Check it out. And if you got 10,000, let's do a total annihilation, Wally. You guys, this will piss you off so bad, and the FBI should be ashamed of themselves allowing this stuff. And total annihilation right here. $10,000. Nonetheless, I have a backup here. This pisses me off. Total annihilation. Here's a website right here, all right? Now, on the right, $10,000 deposit, $500 a month. They will destroy anybody you want, and they have the nerve to say at the end, God help them because no one else will. You want to let your blood pressure go through the roof? NefariousJobsMaine.com. You can hire to destroy people, but the victim has to be over 30 years old. They full of class. Yeah, nefarious jobs. And then down here, reputation shredder. Then it talks about gang stalking. As you look into it, they'll show you how they destroy people. Thanks, Reg. All right, now that I got that out of the way, sorry, Wally, I knocked paper over, but that nefarious jobs, trust me when I tell you this, that is a small outfit. Out of where? California, San Francisco, California. The Satan runs wild out there. But this is a small outfit. Imagine what the bigger outfits that would take $50,000 deposit and $1,000 a month to destroy people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what George Soros would do? Imagine he could, if he spends $246 million to fund that crazy last groups there, 100 groups of the women's protest, whatever. Soros can destroy anybody. Thousands of people. And guess what? When I was in New Hampshire, George Soros, out of all the people, was actually involved with this stuff. In 2008, I have proof, eyewitness, that these huge limos that were everywhere I went, Soros was involved. And that is whatever. That's a whole nother thing. Scary stuff, these people, all right? G.E., Jeffrey Emol, I tear him up on Twitter. I don't really care as a CEO. G.E. could be the ones attacking my body. But, so all this spying stuff, okay. The stalking, okay. That's understandable. Prove that you're being shocked. Zapped. I'm constantly talking about it because I am constantly hit. It started in New Hampshire. I have a ton of medical bills from New Hampshire. I had a mini stroke, facial paralysis, migraine headaches for a whole month. I've never had them my whole life, never had them again. One whole month, ringing of the ears. It's so bad. During the time ringing of the ears, my pastor at the church, ringing of the ears, they put him out of business for a couple weeks. God's people put him out of business. You know, this is how violent. That was the Bush administration with these weapons, by the way. Or GE has been doing this the whole time, and it could be GE and Lockheed Martin doing this. Nonetheless, the Bush administration. And then when Obama came in, that's exactly when I moved down here to Connecticut. And 6 months later, what? Mandel's at Sonalist here doing deal or no deal, buys a house out in East Lyme. What a creep. These people are creeps. And I don't care if this viewer's watching and say he's a nice guy. If he's a nice guy, he would have stepped in many years ago and saved me from this torment and torture that bald-headed idiot caused for me. So, anyways, so the goal, I will look at my notes here. There's 3 steps to make someone homeless, all right? This is what these groups' nefarious jobs do. They make you homeless. One of the steps is to stalk and destroy your reputation. I talked about that. And that includes 24/7, 365 surveillance, all different angles, hidden stuff in your house. That's what they do. The second step they do, they destroy all relationships, like they did between me and my father and everything else, including Kelly Ayotte, who was involved with that after I left, went to my father and wanted to know if I was mentally institutionalized. And the third thing they try to do to make you homeless is they render you unemployed. They get you fired. Luckily, I have a great trade. I'm a tile setter. I'm very good at what I do. I can't work a lot of hours because it's physically tasking. I'm a tough guy, but it's still hard. Your knees, whatever. So I can't necessarily set the world on fire doing that. I'm excellent at it. I wish I could make way more money, but some reason I just can't. So that's fine. So I've been grateful, and I thank God, because my faith in Christ, I've been able to outdo and keep working and surviving these attacks. So how do you make them homeless? You put them out of work. That hasn't worked with me. But guess what just recently happened? Yeah, my colon ruptures. Now I'm out of work. I'm only steps away from being homeless because of these rotten, satanic government thugs using this weaponry on me, all right? So what happens now then? When you end up homeless, 3 other things, 3 other goals of these creeps. One is to be incarcerated, which they tried to set me up to burn my house down to get rid of the devices that the sheriff told me to burn everything. I burned those floodlights. I burned evidence. Horrified. Didn't know what to do. Ready to burn my house down. That would have put me in jail, but I didn't. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. The other one is institutionalized. Mental issues. That's the card they'll play. They're playing it against Trump right now. Mental issues. That's an old tactic, all right? And then the third one is to commit suicide. Force that person, beat them into the ground till the end of their life. I came very close before I left New Hampshire, but my faith held in there, all right? So, with my faith, I survived all of this. But then comes February 20th, in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. What happens, right? Last time we did the show, that Saturday afterwards, and I was all geared up to do a great show Monday about Trump's faith, all these people praying, and whenever I get into this faith, then they ramp it up against me. So what happened was, at 2 a.m., I'm sleeping, out of nowhere, 2 simultaneous pulse waves go through my feet, up through my body, out through my head, 2 seconds apart from each other. It was like a lightning bolt. I never felt nothing, ever, so strong. And when I tell you nothing so strong, nothing ever that strong, and my head was sore right along the top of the skull. I mean, it was sore all night. Monday morning, it was sore. Then Monday afternoon, I started having some weird feelings in my stomach, and that's when I decided not to do the show. Tuesday morning, I go to the clinic, walk-in clinic, and I think maybe they think I might have an infection. My white blood cells were 19,000. They should have been 10,000. So I take strong antibiotics. I almost died. I didn't even know my colon was ruptured, or anyway. So Wednesday morning, I'm not getting better. I go to the emergency room down this lovely place down the street, and they saved my life. And I'm very thankful to the surgeon, to the staff. There was a few weird things, but overall, not from the surgeon, whatever, but other people. But I'm very thankful. They saved my life. My colon had ruptured. All that bad stuff got way up into my abdominal cavity. They had to cut me open pretty good, clean it all out, cap off the the rear end, and then the other part come out to my stomach. So right now I'm like not in a great situation. I can't work, and so getting back to this. How do you render someone, how do you make them unemployed? Well, the government couldn't succeed at what they were doing. They couldn't, or GE, they couldn't succeed. So they ramp it up, and now they're going to use these weapons to just murder people. How many people have been murdered? This is attempted murder. As far as I'm concerned, this was attempted murder. I don't care if it was the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, or GE. This is attempted murder, and if you go to my Twitter account, you'll see that I've been calling for investigation, that this is attempted murder. And I'm gonna show you a couple tweets here. Reg, camera 3. This is it right here. I send it to the NSA, CIA, and DARPA, which is part of the Navy. They're absolutely creepy. It's 2 a.m., stop causing me pain with electronic weapons. What do we have? Third shift government drunken idiots. This is new, all right? So that's one. Second one. I want to hear your justification of using satellite-based weapons on Americans, WTF, 2 a.m., my internal organs being fried, all right? I had no idea I had a ruptured colon at this time, nothing. Here's another one. 14 hours later, 14 hours after last night's 2 a.m. electronic pulse attacks, my insides are very sore, no live show tonight or work tomorrow, all right? Here's another one. All right, that was my last tweet for almost a whole week. And then we come back in, then when I come back home from the hospital, I was close to death, emergency 3-hour surgery to save my life. And you bet your ass I sent it to Dr. Carson, Rand Paul, and Trump, and anyways, thanks, Reg. These people, I truly believe, are out to kill me. And I challenged them today. They started attacking me again. This is how low-life they are. This is how low-life our government is. Right here, Reg, camera 3 again. This, and I don't want to gross you out, but I have to send this on to Twitter to get this government to stop attacking me. If you're that hell-bent to attack me, when I empty my blank bag, I can video it for you. And guess what I did? I did video it for them. Here's another one right here. All right, same deal. If you're that pissed when I'm emptying my bag and attack my body trying to stop me, stop monitoring me, all right? And there's many other tweets. Thanks, Reg. They're so ruthless and cowards. I would fight them to death. I really would. I would sign a release, show me the guy zapping me, I'll sign my life away, put me in a cage, and I'll fight him bare hands till death. Let's see how tough these people are. This is how insane our government has gotten. And when I tell you this, right now, WikiLeaks, I'm telling you right now, Reg, camera 3, WikiLeaks, right? They only put out 1%. They have 99% coming, all right? And these cyber weapons have supposedly been the criminals. They're in criminal hands, all right? Thanks, Reg. Now, go to YouTube and look up our show with ex-CIA Robert Duncan, the guy that was on with Jesse Ventura. And yes, for all the leftists, conspiracy theories, Jesse Ventura. Robert Duncan, during that 5-minute interview with Jesse Ventura, he said he designed these weapons to attack people's bodies, the CIA, and they got into what? Reg, camera 3 again. They got into the criminal hands, okay? So, there you go. Thanks, Reg. So the point I'm getting at is, with the 99% coming from WikiLeaks, the next thing coming is use of these weapons. And you guys, I've talked about it for 4 years. I've talked about all these devices surveilling you. And if people don't want to believe me, you don't have to. I only come on here to 2 reasons: save my own life and to help advise and warn you people of what the government can do, or people that don't like it can do, if they're willing to hire nefariousjobs.com to destroy your life. And I know some of the viewers I've talked to, they have been stalked in similar tactics, gang stalked, everything else, almost lost their whole everything they have. So anyways, all right, that's that. And I had a lot more to say, but I will carry this on next week. But I know Wally has something very important also, which is called the Cloward Piven thing. And Cloward Piven is very important, because this is all this backhanded stuff they've been doing, Soros and all them. And Laura Ingraham just referred to that a couple days ago. I heard her again say that, like Friday or Thursday. So anyways, I'm gonna let this rest. Trust me, I could just rip everyone apart, but I'm not going to, because my stomach might rip apart. And by the way, one more thing, Reg, camera 3. Look at that. Laura Ingraham had Bill Binney on, also on the radio. So did Hannity. This is great. Bill Binney, thanks, Reg. Listen, Bill Binney, thanks, yep. Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe came on here because the major networks weren't giving them any time. Fox, nothing. But I'm so thankful to Hannity and all these, in Fox News, to bring these guys forward. The viewers, you should be appreciative. You knew this stuff 2 years ago when we had Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe on. So you guys were way ahead of the curve if you listened. So anyways, I'm going to take a break, Wally. My bag's going to explode.
Okay, you did good.
I feel good. Maybe I just needed to let it loose.
I'm sure most of the people out there are glad that you brought all this up, because they wanted to see you, they want to hear you, and they know what you're going through. It's really rough.
I appreciate it, Wally. And a lot of the viewers had sent cards and other things. And I'm so thankful. Because I am facing huge issues in the coming weeks. I'm trying not to let it bother me. Why worry about tomorrow? Just worry about today, but you still got to be thinking about tomorrow. Yeah. So anyways, go ahead, Wally, because we got retired State Trooper, Connecticut State Trooper JB going to be calling in a little bit.
Well, I know what you're going through, and the things you're saying, everybody's learning now. They're just learning now. You've known this for 4 years, right?
I lived it.
Right.
That's how I knew about this.
And a lot of this information is coming out, and I'm starting to believe much of this stuff too. When they say that the CIA or the FBI or whatever you want to say, they can hear you on your television. It's scary. That's very scary. And this stuff is true. It's coming out that it's true.
Now, Wally, I'm glad you paused, because I didn't want to interrupt. Two more quick things before I forget. Remember the NSA, Love and Tell, the NSA was spying on the girlfriends, again, spying on women. The NSA, Reg, camera 3. NSA staff, right? Spy tools on their spouses. Remember that, the Love and Tell? And right here, NSA used spy tools on the spouses, ex-lovers. These people have been doing this creepy stuff forever, but this isn't the biggest. This is the biggest right here. This infuriates me. The Geek Squad, all right, Geek State. You guys look this up. You won't read it in the London Day, but the FBI pays the Geek Squad right here also at Best Buy $500 for every person. They go through every single computer, and you have to bring in a geek squad. They go through all your stuff. If they find anything potentially the FBI might be interested in, the FBI pays these people $500 each time. Look it up. Nobody will ever walk in Best Buy ever again. Thanks, Reg. Go ahead,
Okay.
Wally. Now I'm pissed. Sorry.
A lot of people don't know about these two people, but they've been around for a long time. One has passed away since 1966. This is Cowards and Piven. There's a husband and wife team, and they have a strategy. How to defeat the United States, how to make the United States break down their government.
You have a 2-minute video with Jason Chavez.
Okay, why don't you shut up?
Again, the Stingray equipment. I've talked about this. It's a suitcase device that Homeland Security has sent out, plastered it throughout the country. This is what potentially may have been listening into Trump at the Trump Tower. But the Stingray equipment, that's in the hands of the wrong people, and local authorities have it too. And let me tell you what will happen with this. This is my prediction. Once people find out that a local authority has a Stingray equipment and they're listening in, there's going to be class action lawsuits that are going to financially break these towns. Here's my prediction. These towns will regret trying to play Big Brother when all they are is just a little boy compared to Big Brother, the government. They won't be able to handle these class action lawsuits, and they're coming. Trust me on this. And when this all, there's going to be tons of lawsuits when all this stuff comes forward. And it's going to be, Big Brother's going to be crying. Yeah. But it is what it is. Thank God for Trump, as long as he keeps on course. But anyways, why don't we run that video of Jason Chavez about the Stingray equipment. It's only like 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
Has denied that the White House or anybody that was a White House official, including the president, ever surveilled a U.S. citizen. But the FISA order option, it's completely legal if it was undertaken by someone in the FBI, the DOJ. Can Congress get its hands on FISA orders?
I do believe that the Intel Committee can do that, but I'm here to tell you, having done investigations and issued reports on this, that's not the only tool at the disposal of the federal government to surveil people. There are other ways to do it without having to get a FISA order. There are Stingrays that we have done, we did a report about, that are widely used in the federal government to find people's geolocation, and those same machines can also look at the content of your communications. Even the IRS has these machines, and so I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know that what I just said has any tie to what the president's saying whatsoever. But does the federal government track Americans? They do. Have they done it without court orders? Yes, they do. And I've got evidence and proof that that does happen. Now, is that tied directly to Donald Trump and the campaign? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the Stingray. So people who don't know, that's a device that can be aimed at trying to gather information on somebody that may be allegedly guilty of something, but it can collect all kinds of innocent people in it as well. Yes. And law enforcement agencies don't have to use a warrant for that. They also don't have to disclose that they're using it. And it's really tough to find out who's even using it in the first place, whether you're spying on a Donald Trump or on a Jason Chaffetz. I mean, this is technology that is used every day.
The government is capturing facial profiles and building a massive database of innocent Americans and their facial profiles.
What can you do in Congress to stop this?
Well, we've been trying to expose it. I mean, we did a lot over the last 2 years to expose how these things work. And again, I'm not here to suggest that this is directly tied to Donald Trump or has any relationship, but I'm also here to say that the simple answer is not just a FISA order. There are other ways and other tools at the disposal of the federal government that have been used in the past. Have they been used nefariously? Look, I had more than 40 Secret Service agents dive into my federal records against the law, a violation of federal law, and that's the conclusion of the Inspector General. And yet almost nothing happened. I didn't hear President Obama or anybody else get upset about that. I didn't see anybody fired when I had 40 Secret Service agents going after me. What about the targeting of innocent Americans by the IRS? So the Obama administration has a notorious record of this. Again, I'm not here to draw a conclusion, but I'm saying, has it happened in the past? Yes, it has.
That's the first time I heard him. He was being attacked, too. What about Rosen? They went after Rosen, remember?
Of course.
The telephone, they were tapping his telephone, then they tapped his mother's telephone.
Tony Schaefer, and I don't know if you guys picked this up on the lead-in video, I clipped it and replayed it, where he said there's stuff much more worse to Sean Hannity that you haven't seen or read yet.
Yep.
Much more worse. How much more worse can it get other than attacking and hurting people with weapons, with satellites? So, again, I don't, you know what, personally, I don't like the idea of WikiLeaks, what they do. I really don't. It's horrible for our country, but at the same time, if there's people being killed or murdered by the government, I want to know, or I think the public should know. In the church committee, getting back to Michael Savage, Wally, church committee was kind of before my time. I was only a kid then, but you might remember it. That had a lot to do with the CIA, the MK Ultra, which is messing with people, mind control, all that crap, and the FBI, COINTELPRO, which still is going on today. What do you think that gag order in New Hampshire was all about with the FBI? Same deal. They know how to destroy people. Maybe they didn't like my father. I don't know. But that's, you know what? Maybe the 11-year-old girl that was being watched up there by GE and NBC. Oh, maybe that was the issue. I don't know. But we got speaking of that, Wally, we got a blizzard coming. You know that?
Yep.
We got a blizzard. And look at this, Reg. 8 to 14 inches, right? That should be common sense, but a statewide travel ban will begin at 5 a.m. on Tuesday. But thanks, Reg. So, yeah, the travel bans kind of freak me out, Wally.
Yeah.
It's almost like martial law because you can't, you get arrested if you try to go from across town or something? Or is it just highway travel bans? I'm not sure how that works, but I certainly can't do any shoveling or snow blowing. So
I get that problem too.
Yeah, normally I'd be out there fighting it. I may try. I don't know. I may try the snow blower a little bit, but if I can't lift anything heavy, so I don't know.
You got to take it easy.
Yeah, I don't know how that's all going to unfold. And by the way, this is important. Reg, camera 3. This is probably the biggest news of the whole day. Why 20 minutes for your health are worth every second. And you know what today is, Wally?
It's wait a minute. It's the 13th.
No, National Napping Day.
Oh.
Thanks, Reg.
Maybe that's why I fell asleep on a computer.
I didn't have a nap today, but man, National Napping Day. And I thought, geez, Wally, this is your day.
I have a national day every
we have
week.
Some great viewers and caring people, and I thank you so much. It just, trust me, just a card, the cards are great. All I can say is thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot. And so hopefully in, I think, 6-7 weeks, I go back in and they fix things, put it all back the way it was, and hopefully my life isn't altered at all. Hopefully nothing's defective, deformed, whatever.
Yep.
It's a hard thing to deal with every day. I do have faith, strong faith in Christ, but you still have these things, these issues, and it's not easy.
I know a lot of people are thinking about you, and I know it's on their mind because it's on my mind too. And we're worried about you're going to try to do too much in a short period of time, and you got to understand, you're in your 50s. You're not a young kid anymore.
Stop. I'll kick the crap out of you.
You're 51?
But listen, you know what though? It is good to be I'm active. I'm a physical person. I like physical stuff. I'm not a fan of it for 8 hours. 6 hours is perfect a day, but nonetheless, I do walk. I'm trying to do as much as I can, and it actually helps tremendously to keep from the waist down and from here up. Keep that part of my body the best I can be, and then hopefully all this heals. But I do have a concern. I really do have a concern. These people are relentless, and they like to go after the vulnerable. So as I'm trying to empty this thing, and it's heartbreaking for me, and these government thugs.
Well, we got 2 minutes left of the show.
I know. But,
so we'll be doing all right.
But to think how raunchy they are, to attack me at the most important time, how raunchy our government is. Just think how raunchy they are. That's all. That's all. Be proud. All the liberals, all the Day, and all these people, Chenier and Hackett and love Obama. Guess what? I hate the man. End of story. And I hate his holdout government thugs that are attacking me, because I don't think for a minute the Trump administration, full of Christians, would ever attack somebody in such a evil manner. That's all. But it is what it is, and I will survive, and I will make it to another day. And next week we'll be here, and it's just a horrible thing. I mean. But I've talked about it for all the viewers that watched us for 4 years, you must be amazed, because I have shared so much, and everything we've talked about is true, has come true, even though it seemed far out. Trust me on this. These people are nasty, and I know just firsthand. I didn't read about this stuff. I had to live it for several years to realize these people are nasty, pervert, pedophilia, pedophiles in our government. And they've gone crazy with this technology. So anyways, listen, I love all you guys. Thank you so much. God bless all the viewers. God bless America. And Wally, see you next week. Right, Wally?